Good evening, everyone, and welcome. It's here, earnings season, and the focus is on the banks, the big ones, the ones that can move the market and give us insight into the health of the economy. Before the opening bell rings tomorrow, we'll hear from J.P. Morgan, the largest U.S. bank by assets, and Wells Fargo, the largest by market cap. The financials had a rough start to the year, the second worst performer behind utilities. And while most strategists aren't expecting much from earnings season, many say the news won't be all bad, especially when it comes to the banks. Dominic Chu takes a look at what to expect and why this group is so important to investors.
There's a reason why so many investors care about what happens in the financial sector. That sector is the second most heavily weighted one in the entire large-cap S&P 500 index. And financials are expected to be a bright spot with the highest anticipated earnings growth of any sector out there. There are a number of things working in their favor.
The key tailwind for financials is really rates and the expected rising rate environment. If you look historically at the last 4 rate hike cycles, financials outperformed the overall market. And that makes sense. In particular, insurers should benefit from a rising rate environment.
A host of big cap names will report later on this week and next, including J.P. Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, and Citigroup. And every analyst has their favorite.
I really like Morgan Stanley, given the fact that they're changing more to a wealth management-oriented business model. Only about half, a little less than half, of their earnings is coming from institutional securities, as opposed to more like 3/4 several years ago. And so you're shifting to a more stable, more predictable, and higher multiple-oriented business.
But it's not all positive for the big financial companies in America. There are significant hurdles to overcome.
It's clear that regulation, the increased regulatory environment we're in, really is a significant headwind for financials. Obviously, it's going to impact some financials more than others, but it's certainly something that could be a speed bump for financials going forward.
Most of the largest financial institutions out there report earnings early on in the season, so we'll get a good idea of how the sector looks over the next few weeks. For Nightly Business Report, I'm Dominic Chu.